Hello, welcome back to the Midst of Arsenal podcast for another get together. Basically, been a couple of weeks. I gave last week a pass because of what happened. I thought, you know what, I couldn't go. I wasn't going to. I didn't want to relive that because obviously with what happened with Brighton, I didn't want to relive it. So I thought, you know what, we'll come back next week. Surely Arsenal won't do anything wrong this week. It's my birthday as well this weekend. No, they'll turn up. I know it's first away, but they'll turn up. They'll put a performance in. So Arteta won't try anything random for no reason whatsoever. And yeah, we're back, and it backfired. If I don't know if I'll cry, let's put it that way. Because as you can tell, I am joined by Andrew for the audio listeners. Andrew is back with us from Dial Square to Where. Where do we start? Because a month ago, we're talking about the 2-2 against Liverpool and how that save with Ramsey could be crucial to us within the title and all that. And then since then, we've dropped silly points and it's cost us to the point where the last lot of points dropped, handed it to Man City without him kicking the ball, to the point where they made 9 changes to their team yesterday. Are we in cruise control?
Yeah, I know. Well, I think it's. I think I'm right in saying in the last 9 games, we've got 9 points out of a possible 27, and that is just simply catastrophic, really, isn't it? At this stage of the season, and when you think about it, 9 games is not far off a quarter of a season.
Yeah.
It's not far off a quarter of a season. So we had an unbelievably good 3 quarters of the season and a dreadful 1 quarter of the season. And the funny thing is, if the last 9 games had been sort of evenly spread out across the whole season, and we finish on, I think, what is it? We can finish on a maximum of 86 points now, I think. I can't remember.
But
if we've
got 1 game left, I'll have to check.
Yeah. Or is it 84? I can't remember.
I think it's 84 now because we lost at the week. It would have been 84.
Yeah. I think it's 84.
Yeah, 84 most we can finish with now.
Yeah, so if the last 9 games have been evenly spread out and we finished off on 84 points, fingers crossed, then it will still be a cracking season. It's just the way that it's happened. And the season that promised so much, like I say, the first 3 quarters of the season, beyond anyone's wildest expectations. And even if we're just on an average, like pretty good running, the last 9 games, it would have been more bearable. Because even though I think, even if we'd have beaten Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton, and I think, maybe got another draw or win even the last game of the season, we still wouldn't have won the league. I mean, that's the funny thing. We wouldn't have. We still would have come second. But people are saying, well, the last 2 games, don't really matter because we'd lost the league anyway. But they matter to me, and they matter to an awful lot of other fans, I'm sure, because to finish off the season with a whimper, it takes the gloss away for me of the incredible season that we've had. And I know that won't be the case for that much longer, because when I do look back on this season, the amount of great high points that it gave me, the love for the team that was really, really brought back to most of us fans throughout the season, the attachment to the team and the players and the manager and the feel-good factor was completely all back. And when I look back and reflect on the season throughout the summer, that will all come flooding back. But at the moment, I can only be honest and say how I'm feeling right now. And I can't help but feeling really disappointed, not just for myself selfishly and for the rest of the fans, but also for the players. I feel for them, and I feel for the manager and all the staff. because they don't deserve this finish, really. And, I absolutely despise and loathe the word bottling it and
Mm.
bottle job and all that sort of stuff because it conjures up a real terrible weak mentality and it conjures up the wrong images for me. And whether it's, I'd rather just say, because again, being completely honest, rather than saying, we bottled the league, we just couldn't cope with the pressure because of and it's, I know when you cut it all down, it probably amounts to the same thing. But for me, that's a better way of putting it because we haven't been in this position before. We have got the youngest team in the league and the youngest manager. And yes, the pressure was just too intense for them at the end of the day, and the squad was a bit too thin. With the injuries that we sustained, we all know who they are. Losing Saliba and Tommy Asu on the same day, within 20 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
It was an absolute killer because most people focused on the Saliba injury quite rightly because our statistics without him have just been horrific. But the Tomiyasu one often overlooked, but it was just as costly because it stopped us from being able to just move Ben White back into centre back. Like we had last season, and Tomiyasu
Mm.
obviously worked really well with Ben White throughout last season when they played together. So losing them both was just an absolute killer. But yeah, taking that into account, the fact that for some reason Thomas Partey gone from being the best defensive midfielder in the league quite comfortably, in my opinion, throughout the first part of the season to going off a cliff. I mean, like a lemming. Honestly, I just don't know what's happened to him. But he's just thrown himself off a cliff like a lemming. He's just disappeared. Whether that's something to do with the fact that we lost Lieber as well, I don't know. But everything combined, it just got too much for the team in the end, and it was just a crushing blow. I mean, I'm still raw from it, to be honest with you. It's going to take a while to come over it, but yeah, the last two games, I just don't know. I just really find it hard to put my finger on where it's all gone wrong because, we'll come on to it, I'm sure, but and I'll pass it over to you. But I mean, the starting lineup and everything really didn't make too much sense to me, really, at the weekend especially. It was just a very random thing to have tried at that point.
Mm. No, it's obviously got a comment here on Stefan from Stefan in chat. He says, I actually think second is a decent place to finish. City have not only two first teams, but the most expensive two first teams as well. And that's no lie, isn't it? This is what I've been trying to. I've not obviously said to myself, been talking to my brother off air. We've both agree on the fact that, to an extent, yes, Arsenal spent money over the last few years in Arteta because we had to. Because when you look at what Arteta inherited when he walked through the doors in December 2019, going into 2020, the squad we were mid-table. We were a mid-table squad. Even though we had decent players, don't get me wrong. The way it was performing, where we were going down the mid-table route and going down fast. It wasn't going up. We weren't going in the right direction, put it that way. So he had to come in straight away, use what he had to do, get a few players in that first January window, in like Pablo Mari and Cedric Suarez and all that. And over, I think, did he bring in someone else? Was it Martin, or was Martin a year later?
Pablo Mari, did you say?
Pablo Mari. Pablo Mari. Cedric, and I swear he brought someone else in, but either way, he's had to do it slowly but surely. Build his squad, get the players that he didn't want out, the ones that are causing trouble as well out, and build a squad in his image, on his morals, on his rules, on his expectations. How he not only wants to play in terms of the free-flowing football, but the physicality. He wants to bring the physicality back to the team as well, because we've missed that since the Invincible started breaking down 19 odd years ago. Started leaving left, right, and centre, and this is the first. I've said it all season. This has felt like all but the end of the season. Obviously, very much 88, 89-esque sort of season in terms of we had a manager and George Graham back then, a few years in the job. Nothing was expected going into that season. Met at the title challenge out of nowhere. We took a lead. We got pegged back a bit. We got a bit of a wobble, but brought it back at the right time. Whereas this time we just didn't do it this time. But and the squad, and you look at the squads as well. I mean, how George Graham built his squad, how Arteta's built. It's very similar. So in that sense, I've enjoyed it as well. And from that perspective, it just screamed Arsenal this year. And from that, I loved that. It's just that we just didn't have enough experience in the end, and the injuries, like you say, came to fruition at the worst time for us. Because, like you say, Tomiyasu and Saliba going, especially Tomiyasu. We've seen this weekend, Arteta tried to mix things up, but he didn't have. Let's be honest, he didn't have the facilities to do it because he decided that he took his right back to put him at centre back. He put the DM as an inverted DM into a right back, and he just didn't look comfortable doing that either. And it just wasn't working no matter what. Yako Kiyo has been playing right centre back. You're then putting him at left back. And like you said, the team when it came out made no sense. Everyone's going, "Oh, who's this? Who's playing where? Like, why is Tini playing?" Tini was on the bench. I mean, what's he done? We all think he's done a fantastic job since he's come in the last few games, even before Zinchenko got his injury. He's been coming on, putting a good performance in, this, that, and the other. And we saw him against Newcastle. We thought, you know what? He might get the last few games in, and maybe between the two of them work out a way where next season he stays here and fights for his spot against Zinchenko. And then to not play him, as in starting wise, that just baffled the life out of me. And it was just like, I didn't know what was going on.
It just seems that he's going, doesn't it? That's he probably wants to concentrate on the players that are staying. That's the only thing I could think of, and which made it, my T-shirt made me even more annoyed because he was pretty much the only one that didn't come on. We're dying for a goal.
I went off on that as well.
Mate, honestly, I swear, it's really annoyed me.
Well, I was doing my watch along with Gary at the weekend as well. For the game was at the full-time whistle. I'm there, I'm ranting and raving. I'm thinking, I brought it up. I was like, Smith Rowe, we're all being led to believe, obviously, Granit Xhaka, he's decided he wants to go now to Leverkusen, he wants that, and then we're told, and just before that Smith Rowe's been moulded into play Xhaka's position going from next season onwards. We're hearing today from certain parts of the British media that Smith Rowe is one of 6 players who's going to have a key role in the squad next year, in the club in general. But then, why wasn't he playing? Why did he not start him?
Honestly,
especially when in build up to the game on Saturday, it's come out about Xhaka that he wants to leave. Leverkusen have come in. We're working with him. We're currently working with him on a £50 million deal, etc., etc. Why are you not? Why are you not going? It's not. I know it's away. It's not on fires, but you know what? This is a test run, a dummy run. Smith Rowe, you're in the pivot alongside Jorginho, an experienced head, or Partey, or whatever, but I would have run Jorginho myself and see what happened. But he didn't even bring him on to do that either. He took Xhaka off on. He doesn't bring Smith Rowe on, and I'm just like,
honestly, I mean, again, the only thing I can think of, sorry to cut in, but the only is like he's desperate to justify the fee paid for Fabio Vieira, so he just continues to put him on completely unjustifiably, in my opinion. Considering when you look at everything that he's done for the club, Smith Rowe, up to date compared to what Fabio Vieira's managed to do throughout his whole first season, there's absolutely no justification for not even, for starting him ahead of Smith Rowe, who bleeds the club, loves the club. And he's fully fit, pain-free for the first time, as we all know. And he's not starting him, but putting him on before Smith Rowe every single game. And it can only be because he doesn't want to be left with egg on his face because he paid £35 million. That's the only thing I can think of, because it just... baffles me, and it's really upsetting to see him sitting there on the bench, not even getting told to warm up most of the time. And
Yeah.
he's literally one of my favourite players that been around for years. That he's one of my favourite players. So
He was a joint top goal scorer last season, along with Sacco and all that. And I know he had to start the season, we had to have the surgery and all that. But he's been back. He played a bit. He played a few minutes against Bournemouth. He got an assist for crying out loud in that Bournemouth game as well. A headed assist. But he contributed. I know he went off there was a bit of a niggle. Rumours of a bit of a niggle. So fair enough. But then it's been how many weeks later? He doesn't even start in the lesser games.
not even coming on, mate. Now
No, I ranted. Part of my rant on Saturday was he only seems to bring Smith Rowe on when the game's gone, as in when he was in 2-0 at Brighton or 3-0 or whatever it was like the other week. And I was just like, why are you doing this to him? Especially with one of your key players last year.
I know.
And I mean, I'm sorry. Like you say, it hasn't worked.
I'm not writing him off just yet. I mean,
it's been harsh. I'm not going to be harsh, but it hasn't worked so far.
No, it hasn't. No,
personally, I would, depending on what our business is in the summer, I wouldn't sell him, but I'd loan him somewhere, get him some game time, get him his confidence back for a few months, and see what happens come January. Do a short-term thing, get him because I don't know what it is. It's either that he needs to bulk. He really needs to bulk up in the summer and sort out his physical side of his game. Because the technical ability of Fabio, the ability is there. We see it briefly here and there in the Europa League and all that this season. At the start of the season, we saw it. But when it comes to playing in the Premier League and in a more physical league compared to your Europa, he gets pushed off the ball too easily. He's too lightweight. He needs to really that's the main thing for me. He needs to sort it out. I know this is a pre-season, so I used the pre-season. I know we're playing Barcelona, we're playing Man United, and amongst other teams in pre-season abroad. When it comes up against the Premier League teams, if he ain't physically there by the time we play the Premier League teams in pre-season, they need to sort of think about maybe loaning him for 6 months to somewhere where he needs to work on it elsewhere and come back to us in January. But in terms of Balogun, I'll just get on this as well, because my brother mentioned this the other day after the Ivan Toney news as well. He came to me and said, you know what would make sense for Arsenal? Loan Balogun for 6 months to Brentford. He's in a Premier League club playing similar in terms of the football that we played at Brentford as well. He would be getting guaranteed minutes. He say, you're going to loan you out 6 months. These are the targets we're going to set you. If you reach them, by the time you come back on January 1st, we promise you've got a genuine chance to fight for the first 11 spot and all that. Instead of him just going, I should be guaranteed straight from the off. Give him a chance to prove himself in the Premier League elsewhere first. Come back to us and see what happens. Because otherwise we could lose him as well. Because obviously Adrian's getting really easy by the sounds of it.
Yeah. I don't know it's going to be a very, very interesting summer. I think since Arteta's been here, actually, it's one of the each summer it's always gone for like one of the most important summers ever. But this is genuinely really important as well, because it's like having to kick on and build on this season to show that this season is
not a one-off.
Because this season, it's not. You can't say it's been a massive success because we haven't won anything, but it's a massive, massive progression from where we were. So, in that terms, it's been a success. So, but we need to build on that now and show that that's not been wasted. And I saw a message, something in the chat box a little bit earlier saying, so worse the effect of when Spurs finished second, they didn't build on it and they dropped off the following season. And the person's, sorry, I can't remember who it was that put it, but said,
I think it was Stefan. I'll double check.
Said you can see the same thing happening to us. I genuinely can't. I really do think we are going to build on it. Whether we finish second again is not guaranteed, because obviously there's so many good teams now. that that they're not all going to squeeze into the top four, but I genuinely think that we are going to be finishing back in the top four again. But
it's really sorry, it's really not Stefan.
Okay, yeah, that's the one. Absolutely take your point there, really, but I don't respectfully don't agree with that. I think we will kick on, but we need to make sure that we are continue to be as close as possible to City, because I mean, what makes it worse is that it's so, I don't know. There's still so many people not talking about the Man City situation with the charges and everything.
Thank you.
And it keeps bringing it up to say that, it's only because of sour grapes and everything. It's not sour grapes at all. We're talking about this all season, right?
It's been brought up since February by the Premier League themselves. They brought it up
exactly.
in the first place.
And then
it went quiet.
The Premier League have brought all these charges to that team, and then you get all this two-faced posts from the Premier League themselves congratulating Man City and saying how brilliant they are. Ever since they won the league, But no, it's not sour grapes. It's just the fact that Man City don't interest me in the slightest, because every single thing that they achieve with quotation marks is hollow. It's dead. It means nothing.
And yet, I think
it doesn't mean anything to anyone. It's just like this emotionless, and it's just all fake, because everything they're achieving has been born on the back of cheating.
Yeah, and the thing is, the thing is with City. I can't remember. Someone said it one of these broadcasting abroad, one of these broadcasters things abroad. It wouldn't be in the UK, because the UK kissed Man City's arse. They wouldn't dare speak out against City, even though they've got all this against them. But they basically said yesterday, whilst they're getting rid of the title lift and all that, if Man City want this to go away in terms of the allegations of the alleged, even though they've been charged, alleged doping, financial doping, why are they kicking it down the road? Why are they getting their lawyers to keep kicking it down 2, 3, 4 years down the road? If they're so innocent, get it dealt. You want it to go, want it all to go away? Do it now. Get it done now. But be transparent to everyone, not just the league, to everyone. Show us everything.
Every single thing that they come across, they'll put up an objection to it.
And when it came out back in February, notice the language was in terms of how the Premier League was saying Man City were conducting themselves in the investigations, was the exact same language UEFA used a couple of years back when they were investigating them, and they initially charged them, in terms of how unhelpful they were, how they were very reluctant to put certain things forward into the paperwork and things like that. But until that's dealt with, that's hanging over their head now.
Well, the person who's looking after it from the Premier League, they're objected to him because he's an Arsenal fan.
Apparently, allegedly. As I said, that all came out in February. In terms of they've been investigating for X amount of years. So Man City knew they were investigating for X amount of years, but it all came out in February publicly. We're now in May, so they waited from February, March, April, May, mid-May, by the way, to go, he's an Arsenal fan. It doesn't count.
What I mean? They'll wait as long as possible, and then they'll reject to everything. So it could go on for years and years and years.
It's just, what the hell has that got to do anything? Why have you waited till now?
But I know, you couldn't make it up, could you? But it's, it just makes everything, like I said, so hollow, so fake. And unfortunately, it's like you just have to discount them. So technically, if in your own head, you think, I'm not saying it because of this season, that I'm genuinely not. But you have to say that second is the champions of everyone else, because you've got City. Yeah, I know. But people think I'm saying it because we've just finished second this season. It's not the case, though, is it? It's always like that.
I've been saying about this for weeks in terms of Liverpool, all these Liverpool fans, Man United fans that have been backing City shamelessly. I'm like, hang on, But it's come out since February that they've cheated you out of multiple league titles in the last 15
I
years.
know, and it's
You've
like
got to make it up.
it's like right. The final 4 stages of the Tour de France,
Yeah.
and the leader has had 2 failed drug tests, and he's appealing them, but the race is still
He's
continuing.
not got ahead.
So it's hanging over his head, right? And he goes on to win the Tour de France, and they still haven't got all these results back, and he's still got this thing hanging over his head because he's been appealing, and he's getting all the yellow jacket and everything, putting it on and having all the champagne, and people are still patting him on the back because he's won the Tour de France. But hang on a second, maybe he's been taking all these drugs. We don't know yet, but
let's wait and see.
It's exactly the same situation.
I know. I mean, I've also used the situation in 2006 with Serie A. The match fixing. I know it's different in terms of it was match fixing in that instance, but how Serie A, as soon as it started coming out that there's alleged match fixing from these multiple teams, they investigated that straight away, and by the end of the season, because they started in the 05-06 season investigating. By the end of the season, they'd come to the conclusion that they're all guilty, and they punished them. It was like, okay, right, you're the worst offenders, Juventus, so you're down in Serie B, and you're getting a points deduction, and you're getting a massive fine because you're the worst. You're getting a 30-point deduction, AC Milan, and I think it was Lazio, and I can't remember the fourth team was, but they all got points deduction, but depending on how severe it was differed. But they dealt with it. And it's happening with him, obviously, Nemeth mentioned it in the chat, Juventus back in trouble again, because obviously they were initially, was it a 15-point ban? They appealed, they got the 15 points back, but there's now rumours today, at some point today, they're going to get their points deducted again. And they can't appeal it. But this time it's financial, this one, in terms of Juventus, this time round. But look how quick the organiser at Serie A, they don't mess about. They investigate, they get the information, they go, okay, this is enough. This is your punishment. Your fine, your points deduction, as of immediate effect, by the way, not waiting for next season, immediate effect, and everyone involved, you're all banned from operating from the football club. So you've all got to resign, basically.
Yeah.
Man City.
If they want to appeal it afterwards, fine. But you've got to
they appealed it, but then the league appealed it back, and they're getting the league are getting their way. The Serie A are getting their way again because they've got the information to say that no, they did actually genuinely financial doping, basically. And it's just incredible. But the Man City here going with 115 plus charges against them, just waiting to be punished, basically. It's like the Premier League going, we're giving you enough time to pay us, come on.
Well, there's only 1 or 2 journalists that I can see that are even mentioning it. And none of the pundits on TV mention it at all, ever. It's like this. It's like Man City have paid money to a court to stop people from talking about it at all. That's what it feels like to me. But anyway, people will throw it back in our faces, saying, "Oh, you're only talking about this because it's all sour grapes." It's not the case at all. It's been going on for many years, as we all know. And when you're in this situation now, only now can you really feel even like a tinge of sympathy, no matter what you think of them. Feel a tinge of sympathy for what Liverpool have been going through these last few years.
These last 6 years, yeah.
I mean, they've outsurpassed us by many points, and still gone on to lose the title. And like I said, even without our really poor run, results-wise, we still would have lost the title anyway. So that's a little bit of a small crumb of comfort, but not really, not the way I'm feeling. But it just does put it into perspective how ridiculous it is. And we're supposed to have the best league in the world, but 5 years out of 6, it's been the same team winning it. It's only going to get worse.
It turns out they're cheats.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, but even putting that to one side, the fact that it's so dominant because of all this, because of the way that they're built on these foundations, they've done it all so perfectly, like planned out to the finest minute detail with the way that they've set it all up by hiring all the people. I heard it actually on the Arscast, I think, earlier on, about the way he said they got all the officials over from Barcelona before they even hired Pep to put all the foundations in place because they know what he wanted. They knew exactly how he worked and what he wanted when he was at Barcelona, so they got it all sorted before they even hired him. And it's been going on from there ever since with the brand new facilities, the way that they've done up Manchester, so everyone loves them up there because they've rejuvenated all these areas in Manchester. And everyone, they're such lovely people, blah, blah, blah. And the way that they've overinflated all their well, obviously, allegedly, overinflated all of their income from all of these different sponsorships all over the world and everything. They've not gone out and spent world record fees on players. I mean, obviously they've spent over 100 million on Grealish and things like that, but generally most of their signings are around 40, 50, 60 million maybe. So it doesn't look like they're going out and spending mega millions. But when you consider, who was it they play? Calvin Phillips was the first start he had in the Premier League after signing for 50 million in the summer. And 2 or 3 games to go, he made his first start, and they bring on a £50 million player. It's just ridiculous. And so
that's what we're competing against.
Exactly, it's nonsense.
That's saying that we Arsenal spent the most money, like 300 million or whatever, since Arteta's walked through. Of course, we had to, because the dross we had as a squad, the dross we had wasn't good enough to compete. So we had to get rid of the dross and spend money, and big money, but reasonable, as well as obviously recruiting the likes of Saka through the ranks and all that. In the meantime, Smith Rowe and all that, to build this squad to get to this point. Just to compete, not even win, just to compete alongside them.
Exactly, I know, and it's not just the fees. What I was getting at anyway, with the what they pay, it's like £1 million a week. Allegedly, they have to pay £1 million a week for Haaland as well. £1 million a week, yeah. Absolutely ridiculous sort of sums of money that we're talking about.
Who can compete with that in England? Let's be honest, apart from Newcastle now, who's just coming to their fortune. But even Newcastle are doing it sensible at the moment. They're not going, look at us, we've got the money, we're richer than Man City. Boom. They're building the foundations now. They're doing it smart. They're not just going, well, we can go and get the best striker here, the best striker there, or the best centre back, the best goalkeeper.
I've heard as well a stat, I can't remember where it was now, but I heard this thing where their wage bill is so much more than Arsenal's that it's the equivalent of having 12 players, 12 extra first team players on 200 grand a week each. That's how far different their wage bill is to ours. I mean, what can you do when it gets to that sort of situation?
Not exactly. I was saying this since, I'll be honest, I'll be saying this since last season in terms of this league. In terms of it was going down the route. My brother said it in advance, but I agree with him. It's a farmers' league now, and it was in my opinion last season. He said it the year before, but the fact that it's going down the route of Man City, once in a blue moon, someone else, Man City, someone else. It's literally like you're watching League One with PSG going, PSG. They have an off year, PSG, or Bundesliga. For 9 years now, they won the Bundesliga title, but they're about to lose it to Dortmund. But next year, they're going to come back and be a force again. So it's like, really, we're meant to be the best league in the world, the most competitive league in the world. And this is what we're competing against. Allegedly, cheaters that have found their way to corrupt themselves to the top. But are winning, they've put themselves in such a pedestal now domestically that I don't know what else to say. But
the worst thing is is that obviously it's only going to get worse. I can see in the chat they're talking about Newcastle now. That's going to just they can blow. I mean, they've got 100 times more money than Man City or something ridiculous like that. But that's only going to get worse.
The fact they've got to Champions League quicker than Man City as well, but using with the squad with the financial flex they've already used already, and with Eddie Howe at the helm, not even like big names here. No disrespect to these Eddie Howe and all that. Like when I say big names, like a Pep type manager or whatever. Their first full season as owners, and they've spent-wise, they just put the foundations in, and they're basically, if they get a point tonight, they're going to be in Champions League next season. So that straight away, as you say, people you've said, and Nemeth and all that are saying in the chat, and we've been saying it all season. The worst thing for the league is that they have won. All due respect, is that they were to get Champions League straight away because the owners will go, okay, fantastic. Now we're in Champions League. We can officially attract bigger names, more established names established in terms of squad depth that want to come play Newcastle black and white and this and put their brand out there to the world even quicker. Man City has to do it 3 or 4 years, but at least Newcastle. At least I've got to say, with Newcastle, they're doing it. They do it for what we know of.
Well, yeah, but this is it. You don't know what they're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because Man City look pretty clean on the outside, don't they?
Well, if you listen to Sky, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we're being fed. It's what we're being fed by these clubs.
No, this is the thing with Sky. It was written in British media in general. Some big YouTube platforms out here at the moment since yesterday, since they officially won the league and all that over the weekend, is that comparing it. If Man City win the treble, will this be the greatest Premier League team ever, above United and the Invincibles and all that? Knowing to saying all this, knowing
exactly
that got charges against them.
Exactly. I know.
If it comes to a point where they do get charged for every single charge, and they end up having their title stripped over the years and points deductions, fines, and demoted all the way down to the bottom of the football pyramid in England, things like that. Then what are you going to say? Because you've all put yourselves out on the pedestal saying, "Oh, they're the best club in the world, the greatest team in the Premier League history." But then later on down the line, they would have been found out for doing that.
Oh, Sky, I'd love that though, because they'll be able to play against Wrexham every week.
Oh God!
So have some more reality TV shows, Man City v Wrexham. But it's a very sad state of affairs, really. But I mean. The sad thing is as well, right? Because in a real world, and from what we're being led to believe, we see that Arsenal and Declan Rice really want to be together. Remember that old advert? I want to be together. But no, in all seriousness, Declan Rice, I think it's fair to say, would love to come play for Arsenal. Yeah. Arsenal really want to sign Declan Rice. We're prepared to pay stupid amount of money. 92, 97 million, whatever you want to believe in the media to get this player, even though he's only got a year left on his contract. But we'll do it because we really want him. He wants to come to us. He wants to play in the Champions League. He gets to stay in London, gets to play for the best club in London, so on and so on. But I will never believe that he's going to come because he will probably go to a Man City, to a Chelsea, to a Newcastle United, to a Manchester United, because all the stupid amounts of money swirling around. And I just feel that the same thing is going to happen that happened with Mudryk. Mudryk desperately wanted to come and join us. We wanted to sign him. We were going above and beyond to go and get him. And then some absolute arsewipe comes in the last minute and goes, oh, they want him, so he must be really, really good. He's all over the news. Let's go and get him ourselves. And I could just see the same thing happening again, sadly. And that'll mean that, we'll end up probably losing out on main number one targets again in the summer through no fault of our own. No. Genuinely no fault. But we'll get all the blame. All those so-called fans all over there.
People on our platform.
Exactly. Every single so-called fan of Arsenal on social media will go and attack the club. We're crap. We can't go and get our main number one targets because of we can't pull our finger out and go and get. But we all know that what's going on behind the scenes. With all these other clubs that have just got stupid amounts of money from stupid PSG who've got no respect for the game whatsoever. Will go and spoil it for everyone else. Obviously, Chelsea, Man City. PSG, they've just ruined football the last 20 years. It's unrecognisable from what it was, and it would only continue getting worse. And clubs like Arsenal will find it harder and harder and harder to compete, but also to actually get the targets that they want because of these other clubs over inflating the transfer prices every single transfer window that passes, it gets worse and worse and worse. Wages get worse and worse and worse. More players are waiting to the end of their contracts because they want to get a massive, huge, because they've earned enough money already as it is. So they want to get a massive, huge signing on bonus, tens of millions of pounds, which basically means there isn't such a thing as a free transfer anyway nowadays.
Yeah.
And these clubs are just fueling the fire over and over again, and it's only going to get worse. So this, we get linked to anyone this transfer window, but it doesn't mean we're going to get any of our first targets. But we ended up with very, very good second choices, in January transfer window, as it turned out. But it could continue like that. I'm not banking on getting Rice at all, to be honest with you, because, we just heard in the news today that I think Man United, Chelsea, Man City, they're all going to be starting to be in the running. We've not got a clear run at him. A load of other teams are going to come in at the last minute and probably get Gazumpus again.
Yeah, that's what I think. There's reports going in the last couple of days saying we're basically getting ready to table our first bid as of when the season's done. After the weekend, we're going to put our first bid in and all that. We can't mess about. We just got. If we want the players now, get the business done. Work with the respective clubs and just get it done. Don't allow these teams any opportunity. Just get it agreed, put behind closed doors, and go. Too late. Bye. Go away. No matter who. I mean. Like you say, we've been linked with Gundogan today as well, heavily linked in terms of that. There's another player that Arteta wants to bring in as an experienced head. And I've seen a few people go, yeah, okay, I get it, because experience, again, knows the league. And a few people going, what? Him, 32, replacing Granit Xhaka in that midfield? Doesn't mean he's not going to play every game. Yes, he's 32. He's brought in for the experience. You all complain about experience. Is the reason why we've fallen off in the last month or so in the league. We go and look at someone who's got experience, not only experience in general, but experience in the league that's won titles, by the way, and you all bitch about it.
He's just about to probably win a treble. His fifth
Champions League. It could be
his fifth Premier League, Champions League. He's had one of the best seasons of his life. And no, but he's not good enough for Arsenal because he's 32.
There's a certain person, I'm not going to mention names, but a certain person we all know in Spain, he's complaining about it. He's one of the people going, we need experience, we need this, we need 32, too old, what are you doing? Get in the bin, fuck off. You're the one complaining, you bastard. It just does my bloody head in. Can anyone just sit back, relax, enjoy a season? I know it hasn't worked out the way we wanted it in the end. But you don't have to cry and whinge about every little thing every day on your channel or podcast, respectively, or in social media in general. It's just like, relax. Yes, we're going to be linked with everyone under the sun, like we always are. This is Arsenal. Get used to it. If you're not used to it now, get used to it already.
I mean, at the end of the day, I always say, I'm just going to go and hibernate and then wake up when the season kicks off again and see how we get on. But it never works out that way. Of course, I'll be following it every day, but I'm determined not to lose my shit.
Until we see the breaking news in terms of Arsenal putting a tweet out saying,
exactly.
With the shirt, don't believe anything until it's done on a dotted line.
I'm not going to lose my shit because it's just, it gets too stressful. And Arteta and co have done enough to earn anyone's trust, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
So, whatever they choose to do is all right by me at the end of the day. And we'll see how we get on. But if we do, if Xhaka is going to go, which he obviously looks very, very, very much like he is, before we knew he was going to go, in my opinion, we needed 2 midfielders anyway already. So that means we need 3 if he goes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what we actually do.
Okay, we mentioned Declan Rice, we mentioned Gundogan, but also Casado again. Apparently, De Zerbi's been. He believes apparently he's been very open and think he believes Casado might be leaving. Even though congratulations to Brighton, by the way, for getting European football for next season. But apparently he's looking to leave go elsewhere. So maybe when they put he's on that new contract after January, maybe there's a release clause put in it.
I honestly think that was only to give him the money, to give him what he was due, because he was on like hundreds of pounds a week. That was all. before, apparently. So that was just to say thanks for staying now. Stay where you are until the end of the season. Don't go in January because you'll end up putting us right in the shit. So stay where you are, and here's some proper decent money for you between now and then.
Yeah.
And then we'll, if we get an offer that exceeds our, or meets our requirements in the summer from a Champions League club, you're free to go then.
Yeah.
I just think that's what that was about, that new contract, to be honest.
And I think because again, as I say, we are being heavily linked with the with Casado again. Like we've mentioned Declan and all that, but it's just about literally see what happens. And like we've seen in the past, look, like you say about January, we didn't get our first choices. We've got Trossard, and that's worked out. We've got Kua, Jorginho as well. Didn't get Casado, so we've got Jorginho. He's worked out. Well, he has played, obviously. So it doesn't mean just because we might not get our first every single time first choices. Doesn't mean not the players that are coming in as a backup, as the backup options, aren't going to be anywhere near good as well. People just need to sort of breathe, relax, and see what happens. Again, before you know, the season's going to end on Sunday, and before you know, it's pre-season like a month later.
I know.
States, Man United and Barcelona. Yeah, I don't know if the Emirates Cup. I'm assuming the Emirates Cup is going ahead this summer.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll definitely be down for that. Like to go to that every year. But I mean, everyone's still going on about getting a new winger to back up Saka as well. And I just think that
Reece.
And I tweeted about it. Well, there's Reece, obviously, yeah. I must love him to stay. But I also think that, for me, it should be Jesus as well. Jesus could be the player to play between the right and the centre. Because I think much more important than a new winger is a new centre forward as well, who is a lot more prolific, shall we say, and offers something a bit different than Jesus. Don't get me wrong, I'm not slagging him off. I love Jesus. He's been transformative since he's come in. But I do think that we need someone with a bit more of a killer instinct in the box. Someone that's just a bit different. Whether that could be Balogun, I don't know yet. Time will tell. But yeah, I'd like to see maybe, because obviously he played a lot more on the right-hand side for City as well. So I think that he could easily be that person. If we do keep Reece as well, that'd be another big bonus. But yeah, I think if he could keep alternating Jesus between striker and the right wing to give Saka some time off as well, but also get another real good high quality centre forward in, I think that'd be ideal for us come the summer.
Yeah, I think because obviously, especially now we are back in the Champions League and all that, we are going to need. We can't just rely on Jesus with all due respect. He's a good. Don't get me wrong. He's a good lad and he does what he's Arsenal from Arteta, but he needs to have that rotation because otherwise he'll be running to the ground. And I know Trossard can play the fourth, but you need that natural centre forward as well. Be it Balogun or whoever, just go out and either promote Balogun or Newcastle almost scored there, or go and get someone that you believe that's capable of doing what you need, that's gonna be happy rotating and competing alongside Balogun and Jesus.
Well, I said it last time we were on, didn't I? My favourite choice at the moment would be the Evan Ferguson. But the thing is, how can we realistically sign? Like, how many players can we actually sign from one club? We might as well just buy the club.
Mate, would it affect them? Because he wouldn't affect them. Because there's someone else coming for the train that's coming through.
But it would be a bit embarrassing. Oh, sorry, do back again. What have you forgotten this time, sir? Oh, yeah, well, I just,
we took Ben White from you. We got Trossard.
Caicedo.
We want Caicedo, but we got him now, but we also want your striker.
It's like walking out the supermarket and forgetting that you didn't buy toothpaste. You have to walk back in again. Like,
the thing is, we'll get Ferguson and all that as well, Caicedo and Ferguson, and we'll go back and go, Yeah, we want McAllister as well. Is that okay? Just technically, it'd be like
Actually,
when all the music in Southampton came up, and then literally they became the feeder club to Liverpool.
exactly.
Brighton will be our feeder club. There you go.
Like Estepinian actually just turned around after you'd done the deal for Ferguson as well and said, actually, yeah, there's
What?
that guy, that left back. He looks a bit tasty. Estepinian.
Whilst you're at it, can we have your you have a midfielder as well?
Give us your academy brochure as well, please, while you're there.
Is anyone you're touting, by the way? Can you give us a touting thing?
But no, I mean, Ferguson, I'd love to.
Team, actually. We'll pay the fee. We'll pay all the compensation. We'll bring them over as well. So it saves all this back and forth. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, I mean, he looks so good, so good. I think he's. I mean, I've said it before, so he does remind me. Really does remind me of a young Alan Shearer. Like he's got all the attributes of being that sort of. I don't know, like somebody just barge everyone out of the way when he gets in their way. Will do anything to. He's got the hardest shot you'll see, and he'll just like shoot from anywhere in the box.
His composure as well, but his composure in general. For
Strong,
he's a young lad.
He's so tall and big. He's not quite as tall as Haaland, but he's not far off.
No,
and he's probably not finished growing yet either. To be fair, at his age,
I think he's 19.
18 or 19, yeah.
18, 19, something like that.
So he could still be growing.
Yeah.
I do genuinely think he looks so good. And so if you were ever going to get him, you'd have to get him now because in another season or two, he'll be up front for Man United. That's what I think.
Or them not down the road will come in as well if they lose Harry or Harold.
Well, no, I'd be mad to go there.
Just for shits and giggles, I'd actually go. I know got one. It won't happen. Just for shit and giggles, I was Arsenal. Do you fancy doing Sol Campbell 2.0, but actually paying for this one? Going to Harold, bring Harold back to the Arsenal.
Honestly, I couldn't stop seeing him though.
No.
Honestly,
just for shits and giggles, bring him in and just leave one of reserves. So he doesn't stink out the place of fucking Tottenham. Like, no, give him the reserves.
Just playing for the in PL2 as an overage player.
Yeah, he needs his fitness back every week. That's okay, don't worry. Oh, he's got another injury. There you go. Off him back you go. I don't care if you're England captain. Go away.
But no,
don't have saying dunk to Arsenal. Let's get every night.
Yeah.
Why we're here actually?
Like I say, just literally buy the whole club.
You know what? Or even have your goalkeeper Sanchez as a backup to Turner as number 3. Can we have him as well?
I like the Brentford goalkeeper. He looks amazing.
David Villa, yeah.
He's going to move this summer, and I've got a horrible feeling he might end up at Spurs. Because that means that they desperately need a new goalkeeper. Man United need a new goalkeeper. Chelsea need a new goalkeeper. I can definitely see why we were after him.
I think Chelsea will struggle. I know the financial firepower, but they ain't going to have any European football to attract these players that they want.
That's the problem. They just pay whatever they want, don't they? They pay whatever it takes to get these players.
Can they afford to after spunking £600 million in financial fair play and all that?
Well, they'll just go and get some advice from Man City.
Allegedly. Poor Chelsea come after you, or Man City come after us. But Chris is in the chat as well. It says apparently Kuleveski from Spurs is a massive gooner. Yeah, it says a photo. There's proof. That's like Harry Kane. There's proof. 2013. Outside, was it Burkett Henry statue posing outside the Emirates? Yeah. He's an Arsenal fan.
He's another one that seems to have gone off a bit of a cliff lately. I mean, I'm not saying he's bad. He's a good player. I do like him, but he's been really, really poor the last few times I've seen him as well. Don't know what's going on there, but the last time I heard, they were still definitely going to be. He's going to be staying there, but.
You get a manager first.
Wait and see. Yeah.
You need a manager first to convince him to stay. That's the problem.
Hopefully, Ryan Mason with an 8-year contract.
I've been saying, everyone on Twitter has been saying it as well. Ryan Mason's been doing a fantastic job. They've been playing great football, getting beaten 3-1 and all that against Ivan Toney-less Brentford and things like that. Give him a lifetime contract.
They lost 3-1 to Brentford, even though their star striker's been struck off for 8 months.
Yeah,
No,
that made it even better on Saturday. The best part of my birthday as well. I was like, yay! But no, it's brilliant. It's a typical Tottenham, wouldn't it? It was just like, oh, we won it up, woohoo, yay! And then boom, in Brayo 2. And I thought, who scored the third goal? But yeah, it's just typical. Only Tottenham could do that.
I know.
Oh dear. Ryan Mason's a Spurs legend. Whoa.
I remember when he took over, I tweeted out. I said, "I bet." What's his name?
Mourinho. He took over for Mourinho.
No, the old player that plays left wing back. My brain not working. The old player that got from Inter Milan.
Oh, I know you're on about now, but yeah.
I said about oh God, his name.
Machion?
No. The old bloke with the curly hair.
Cucurella.
No.
Right, sorry.
Oh my God, the Italian bloke. No, not Italian.
Guys, up and
forget it. It's not Italian. Of
course,
just played in Italy. Yeah. Anyway, I just say, I bet he can't believe that the day has arrived that he's being coached by Ryan Mason.
Oh, Perisic. There you go.
Perisic. Thank you. Thank you very much. My brain, Chris, is a nightmare. So I appreciate your help. Yeah, I said I bet Perisic can't believe the day has arrived that he's being coached by Ryan Mason. Just be absolutely hilarious. And he's not even been picking him the last couple of games, has he? He's been coming off the bench. So absolutely ridiculous.
An established European elite player that's played all across the midfield and defence in his time. Dortmund, Inter Milan, etc. Playing for Tottenham now when they won the transfer window. Thought he's coming with Conte because obviously he used to play under him at Inter. Ryan Mason, hi.
I know.
He's like, what did I sign for this club again?
Absolutely hilarious.
At least when Unai Emery was sacked, we had a legend in terms of Freddie Ljungberg for a brief period, and then obviously Arteta's like royalty basically compared to Ryan Mason, for God's sake.
I know.
Oh dear. It's twice. It's not even the first time this is Ryan Mason. It's the second time. But no, as I say, he's doing a fantastic job. Tottenham, Daniel Levy, if you're listening, go and give him a lifetime contract.
Well, it's either him or Tim Sherwood.
Or Jimmy O'Hara as assistant as well. Because he loves Tottenham so much. Oh dear.
It's like Brad Pitt getting coached by Dean Gaffney.
You're going to make me choke. Stop it.
Or Brad Pitt getting coached by Wellard.
If you're from the UK, you'll know what we mean. If you're outside the UK, we apologise.
Did you know that Wellard was actually in the film Gladiator? A true story. The same dog. Yeah, it's obviously got a good agent, that dog.
Yeah, clearly. Oh dear. I'd love it. If this is true, I'd love it. Just for the shitting giggles again. Daniel Levy's son is an Arsenal fan called an MF. That explains so much.
Anyway.
He's a double agent.
At least we got round to having a good laugh on this episode. We didn't think we was going to come to that at one point earlier on.
It started very doom and gloomy, didn't it? In terms of if it's
going.
We have to do this, but we have to. Because we can't go hard, can we? That's the thing.
I know, but the thing is, right? It's the first time we've gone 2 games without scoring a goal. The last 2 games that we've had this season.
Yeah.
We could have played for hours, and we just knew we weren't going to score, especially at the weekend. So it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen at this weekend, the last game of the season. So I can see us, generally speaking, when we've got no pressure at all, like last season, last game, Everton 5-1, wasn't it? I think it was 5-0 or 5-1.
5-1. Van der Beek scored for them, but yeah, 5-1.
The pressure's off. We usually have a really good performance. Hopefully, the sun's going to be out at the weekend as well. The forecast is good, and we can, get a really good performance to finish the season off, so that we can all thank them for the great season that they've given us overall. Because there's been some wonderful moments that we'll never forget this season. So they deserve to have a good send-off going into the summer. Players that we're probably very unlikely to see again in an Arsenal shirt, they all deserve, the respect that they deserve as well. So, fingers crossed. And I just hope that we can get a real good thumping win, because a nice 4 or 5-0, I mean, that'd be unbelievable, wouldn't it? To just take away a little bit of a tinge of the sadness of what's happened in the last few games, to be honest.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. Again, I'll be there as well with brother and all that, and I'll be staying around after the whistle when they do their lap of honour or whatever they want to call it these days. I would obviously consider apart from for 30 games out of the 38, we were phenomenal. We looked untouched, like we weren't going to be caught because of how well we were playing. I think for me, in my opinion, I think the West Ham comeback at the aftermath of that game affected the team massively, and they just never recovered. Basically, mentally, it affected the team. Obviously, the Southampton, we sort of got ourselves back in Newcastle. With the Newcastle, sort of, it looks like we're going on the right, getting back into the winning ways. And then I don't know what happened in the last 2 weeks, but it's happened, and we just need to take it on the head and sort of take it on the chin, and sort of get Sunday out of the way, get hopefully a huge win. Bit of a morale boost for the end of the season, and then see what happens over the next few weeks before pre-season in terms of the incomes and outgoings. Find out what's going to officially in the end. What happens with Granit if he does go? It looks like he's going to go, but officially, and then just see what happens in terms of incomes and outgoings, and it's more so the incomings for me because we do need to bulk. I think we've got to. We've shown this season more than especially in the last few weeks. We've got the technical ability of the teams there now, back to what it used to be. Technically, we just need a bit more physicality in our squad, and obviously more depth as well, and less injuries, and I think we'll be fine. Touch wood, and we can go again. We can prove that this wasn't a one-off fluke season because I don't think it was.
Of course not. No, it's I'm really, really confident of that. I don't think it's a one-off season. It's the beginning of a new era for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Thomas Partey go as well in the summer. Just to throw that one in there. I think his injury. He's at 30 odd now. He's got that alleged thing. Let's say allegedly. Because again, he's never been officially named. Only things he's got to say allegedly and. Because it's just obvious. We don't know if it is him, but obviously with people in social media saying it must be him because it suits the age quote and whatever. Yeah, well, it's not just that though. It's like I say, unless it's that.
He's 30 odd years of age as well. He's alongside of his 30s now.
You can't count on him.
It's doing my head in. Whenever we need him, he always gets injured.
He was, like I said earlier in the show, he went from being the best defensive midfielder in the league to just being absolute garbage over the last few weeks. And whether that's because of what's going on is affecting him mentally, the fact that every single away supporter boos as soon as he touches the ball. It's got to do something to you, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I've always, again, I don't like going into it because we don't know if it is actually him. We can't talk about it, but we don't know if it is actually him. The police have never named the player. The player's never been officially named, who it may be. And so until then, people should be keeping very quiet because if it turns out not to be him, he can, at the end of it all, he can then go around and serve everyone for fucking liable. Either way, even if he was alleged to have done what he's been accused of, it turns out he hasn't done it, he's been lies, then he can still go around and suing people for libels, and people have just been, he's been charged. No, if he's been charged, he wouldn't be playing for us. I can tell you that much.
No, 100%.
It was him. If it was him, and he'd been charged, and the playing question hasn't been charged, by the way, but if he had been charged, he wouldn't be playing. He'll be suspended until it's all been dealt with.
We know how Arteta's like. He's ruthless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But if he goes as well, that means we need 4 midfielders.
Yeah.
So it's going to get ridiculous at some point. We can't just... they've got to be realistic in the summer as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Just as interesting for me as to who's going to come in is who's going out. So there's a lot to think about for the club. A hell of a lot of work to do.
Do you think if that was the case, someone like Miguel Aziz could be given a chance next season?
I don't know with him, because I have got massive high hopes for him. But he's not done much on any of his loans, has he?
The loan to IB for last year was weird. Like of all places you've got to loan him to, you've loaned him to a La Liga B team. But Ibiza, like, not even an established a team we'd know, we can keep an eye on him. That's a scream that it's just like out of sight, out of mind. You don't really want him, sort of thing. But it's just like, I don't know. I think the Pompey loan the year before sort of messed things up basically, because they never fucking used him. Imagine begging us to fucking take him, and if we send him there to the Cowley brothers in charge at the time, and never fucking paid a kid. And I don't know what happened, but it's never sort of, I don't know.
I think he went to
Wigan at one point.
Wigan after that, didn't he? And I don't think he's played much for them either. So he won't be ready, I doubt. Patino looks like he wants to leave.
Again, that's an agent thing, I think.
I think so. That's what I've put. Yeah, I think I said to put that on Twitter as well.
I refer back to was it Sunday Until I Die? Their second season, when their academy players come through. Is a young, I can't remember his name, but it's a striker basically came through their academy. And he had massive expectations. He was doing really well in League One when they got promoted and all. It started off well. And it turned out the agent was playing fucking mind games and basically saying to his player, they don't want to sit down with us and they're messing us about da-da-da-da. But when obviously we're seeing, no, we want to get this dealt with, we want to keep him. And I think that's, again, we're very similar in terms of what we're seeing with Shots of Charlie, with Flo Balogun and all that. The agents are looking after themselves, so I say. Or trying to anyway. Exactly. And because of how young these players are, they're falling for it 9 times out of 10.
I know.
That's a shame. What was it Hutchinson last year? Massive prospect for us. There was no indication he was going anywhere, and out of nowhere, Chelsea come along. You can't tell me that was an agent. That wasn't an agent thing. No matter if you say he's a Chelsea fan or not. And now he spent a few games under Potter, and then got loaned out. I can't remember got loaned out to now, but he got loaned out to the Championship for the rest of the season.
I know, and now that they've got about 153 players in front of him now as well. So he's completely wrecked his career. Yeah. So he's going to end up going on loan somewhere that we were going to send him anyway, probably. So,
the irony. There's so much irony behind that one, but it is what it is. But we've obviously got Sunday. It's this Sunday, isn't it? It's the last game of the season. So
yeah.
New shirts coming out. Apparently, the new home shirts coming out on Friday.
They're going to be wearing it, aren't they?
And the players, both the women's team on Saturday and the men's team on Sunday, respectively. Apparently, they'll be both wearing their new home shirt, respectively, for both games. I like the look of it. I like the gold. And they've actually, for once, Adidas, since they've come along, have actually got the year right in terms of the anniversary season and all that. Because obviously, when they brought back the cannon for that yellow one, in terms of the celebrating the 50-year anniversary, did it a year late. And it's just like, what are you doing? So it's nice to see they've actually got it right this time. They've done it on the 20th anniversary season. That they're actually getting it right in terms of the home shirt. And obviously, I don't know if you've seen the photos, but the white trim, it's got engraved in it, embroidered in it, the unbeaten run basically, or
Oh, really?
WD and all that stuff. Yeah. So I'm when that comes out. Obviously, I'm at the game on Sunday, so I'll be grabbing myself one of them because I do like it. So I like the gold as well.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
I don't like the away one though. The alleged away one, no. That's saving me money. That weird greeny, yellow, blue
I
thing.
know. I bet you it'll look all right when they're actually wearing
Look
it
all
on the
right, but it's
pitch.
just like
But it's like I said to you again, probably the last show, wasn't it? I think. But
yeah,
Adidas are allowed one Duff kit in all the time that they've been back with us. It's the only kit that's been slightly dodgy, isn't it? So
yeah. It's the first one. So I'll let him off. I'll let him off because
exactly,
I
yeah.
like the third one though. I do like the third one.
The third one's grown on me a lot because I don't
Yeah,
like green kits as a rule, but it's not the sort of green colour that I don't like. If you know what I mean, it's a strange one. It's more of it's a bit of a bluey green. It's like
yeah,
a nice shade of green.
yeah. And the
Looks
blue
quite
they've used as
smart.
well. And the blue they have used to go with it. It works. It's not just like colour for the sake of it.
Exactly, yeah. And because I didn't like the original green kit with the blue sleeves, I really didn't like that at all. I never liked it.
But the original
But
back in the day before my time.
yeah, I really didn't like it. But this one is different shades of green, and I do
Mm.
actually really like it.
And
Yeah.
he's got the cannon on there as well still, which is nice. Nice they're
Mm.
keeping that on. But we are going to wrap things up, guys. Thanks obviously to Andrew and everyone in the chat as well, keeping things going in the chat and involved in the conversation as we've been going along. But I want to get your score prediction for the last game of the season for both Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, Saturday's game for the Arsenal v Aston Villa for the girls, and the men's team against Wolves on Sunday at the Emirates.
Well, I think the girls' squad is almost like the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan, isn't it? Like dragging themselves all up the beach with no legs and it's just a nightmare.
We're almost there.
I know exactly. It's like a nightmare. I feel so sorry for them, and the way that they've ended the season is, if they can manage to hold on, get the top three. They've obviously got to the semi-final of the Champions League. It's been an amazing achievement, really, considering the amount of players they've got out now. But yeah, I think the pressure's off. Aston Villa have been a good side this season in the WSL, so it's not going to be a walk in the park. I do expect the girls to win. I think it'd probably be a 2-1 win for them. But the men's team, I just think that we've got a good history of turning it on in the last game.
Especially at home as well.
Especially in the sunshine as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 5-0. There's no pressure whatsoever. They can go out there, completely enjoy themselves, and just play their natural game. And as long as he doesn't do anything stupid with the lineup, I'm going to say 5-0 to the Arsenal.
Okay. I'm going to quickly go for a 2. I'll go for Saturday's game. I'll go for a 2-0 win at home to the Villa. And that obviously then cements our Champions League spot for next season against all the odds. And I think that's fantastic considering we've literally got our squad's bare feeding on its backside, basically, considering with all the ACLs and ankle injuries, etc., etc. I mean, before we do wrap things up properly, there's a image going around today, literally, from the first game of the season, the starting 11. There's only 5 survivors that are not injured. And that's mental.
So bad.
And I was saying yesterday in the watch along for the girls' game that the fact that Chelsea, United, and City haven't had any issues of injuries compared to us, and we're still up there, and we're on the verge of finishing above one of them and close to the other two. It says a lot about the team and what Jonas has done, especially second half of the season. But we've got a trophy. That's the main thing. The girls got a trophy must deal as well, so we've got something to celebrate there. But and then on Sunday, I think we're just Wolves got nothing to fight for. Pressure's off. The pressure cooker will be off, and we'll just go. It'll be sort of send a message. We're going again we're going to go again for next season. We'll absolutely do what we did last year, and absolutely put the team, the opposition, to the sword. And I think another 5-0. Not 5-1 like last year. I think it'll be 5-0 this time round. And
you can't do the same as me.
Okay, I got 6 then. I got 6.
Fair play.
I just think we're absolutely the pressure's off, and literally just go okay, bang, because we won't want to end it on anything less than 3 points on a massive scoreline because of the implications of it was a one-off. You're not going to do it next season. No, we are. This is the thing. The youngest team in the league, or second youngest team in the league, has pushed Man City to the final couple of games of the season for their to help win their title, to retain it or whatever. Did a 3 in a row, whatever. No one else did. Everyone else gave up after match day 1, pretty much.
Exactly. The other 18 teams bottled it a lot earlier than we did.
Exactly. And the thing is, everyone going, this is the biggest job in Premier League history and all that. Well, no. Go back to 2011, 2012, 32 games played. Man United are 8 points clear after Man City played Arsenal at the Emirates, we beat them 1-0. And they had Wigan next, and they lost. They had then Everton at home the following week and drew 4-4. So, and they would then go on to lose the league by a goal difference. So, yeah, I think that's more of a bottle job on the Newcastle 12-point lead back in the mid-90s. That's more of a bottle job, and they're 12 points clear. If you want to use the word bottle job, I don't like using it myself. So, the youngest, again, with the second youngest or whatever squad, going toe to toe with a team that's an established team that knows how to get through title races and all that. We didn't know that, apart from 2 players. They're going to, not last year, they used that experience and they've gone again and pushed on. I believe, I've been saying it since January, I believe no matter what would have happened, the worst case scenario, would use the pain and kick on again for next year and go one step further. And I still believe that. And just sort of wait to see what happens. I'm not one of these idiots going, we'll give Arteta to the Champions League group stage. If he doesn't get us out, it's him out. Go away. Just we cannot enjoy it. Just sit back and support your team. You're not for Arsenal. Go away. It does my head in, sorry, but we are going to have things like I'm sort of nattering on now. Yeah. Apart from that, guys, if you haven't already, do smash that like button. Do subscribe as well if you haven't already. It's completely free. And trying to think of schedule-wise, I will let you know in the community post about the schedule for the rest of the week coming up. Obviously, we'll be covering the game on Saturday for the girls against Aston Villa. And then hopefully Sunday, Gary will be able to do the takeover for the channel in terms of keep you guys updated for the Arsenal Wolves game. Sorry. In terms of the audio for this will be up in about half hour's time, give or take. If you've just come in, you've missed the show, don't worry. If you want to listen to it on the go or whatever, go and check it out on Spotify in about half hour's time or whatever audio platform you use. It'll be up there soon. And give us a follow over on that side of things as well. And share it around on the audio side of things as well. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you on the other side. And as always, up the Arsenal. Come on,
you Gunners.